Hey everybody, my name is Jordan and I'm excited to talk to you about C.S. Lewis' beauty and why that matters to you today. First, let's set the stage. I want you to imagine that you are lost, all alone, out in the woods. You are frantic. You are looking for any signs of home, right? And you stop for a second. When you stop, you hear off in the distance a car driving, and you think, that's a good sign. I'm going that way, right? And so you run after that sign, and sure enough, what do you stumble upon? A road. This is another sign. This is great. This is good news. You get up on the road, you start following down the road, and sure enough, there's another sign, and it's a signpost pointing you home. And you think, yes, I'm headed in the right direction. I love this. Now, the dumbest thing you could do if you want to get home is to sit down under the signpost pointing you home and say, I've done it, I'm home, right? Except here's the problem. We do that with beauty all the time, and then it lets us down, right? How long would you have to sit under that signpost before the heat is just, the sun's beating down on your neck and you're sweating, or the rain's coming down and you're cold and you think, this isn't what it was supposed to be. How come it's letting me down? Now, C.S. Lewis says this about our desires. He says, the Christian says creatures are not born with desires unless satisfaction for those desires exists. A baby feels hunger. Well, there is such a thing as food. A duckling wants to swim. Well, there is such a thing as water. Man feels sexual desire. Well, there is such a thing as sex. If I find in myself a desire which no experience in this world can satisfy, the most probable explanation is that I was made for another world. So, in The Weight of Glory, another essay by Lewis, he says that God created humanity to be in perfect relationship. But after our fall, our desires, which were supposed to be met by God, are left out there just searching in the wind for completion, yet without an object to clasp onto. So we end up making mistakes about the things we think are going to satisfy us. Let me give you an example from my own life. When I was 15, I used to listen to all the music I possibly could, all of my favorite bands, and I loved it because when the right song came on the radio, I could feel it, right? My soul would move at the beauty of the music. And I thought if I could just take that music into myself, if I could have it, then I would have that beauty all the time. But the problem is, anybody who's ever tried to learn to play the guitar, like me, you realize it is hard. And just because I have a guitar in my hands, I find that the beauty is not always there. So while I took lessons and I learned to strum and play music, I found that the beauty that I had seen in the music before was now missing from the music as I played it, right? And so my guitar became a towel rack instead of an instrument of beauty, right? And this is the problem. We do this all the time, whether it's maybe it's a special love interest that you think will truly make you happy. Maybe it is being a musician. Maybe you have a goal to be a musician or be up on stage and you think that'll truly make you happy. Or maybe to create art or to have it on display or to have other people see it, like that will make you happy. There's a million things that we think, if I could just have this thing, that I would be completed and my life would be happy. But Lewis says this, he says, the books or the music in which we thought the beauty was located will betray us if we trusted them. It was not in them, it only came through them, and what came through them was longing. So what he says is we need revelation. We need God to tell us what desires are flailing out there that he needs to meet, that only he can meet. And we need to go somewhere to find out where that is or what those are. And he says we need to go to scripture for that. Now, some of you might be thinking, and rightfully, that like, I've read the Bible before and my soul wasn't moved by beauty, right? So what's he pointing us to? Now, I don't want to take any experiences of beauty from you necessarily. He says at one point he was out talking with this old military man, and he was kind of talking about the Bible and what it has to offer for him. And this old military man says, I've got no use for all that stuff. But mind you, I'm a religious man too. I know there's a God. I felt him out alone in the desert at night, the tremendous mystery, and that's just why I don't believe in all your neat little dogmas and formulas about him. To anyone who's met the real thing, they seem so petty and pedantic. And Lewis says, yeah, that's a good point. You probably have moved from something pretty real to when you go and like open up the Bible to something that feels less real. But that's not really the point of the Bible. And he goes on to say the Bible is a little bit like a map. All right. If I'm standing out in the Atlantic Ocean looking at how beautiful the Atlantic is, and it's amazing, and then I go and turn towards this little piece of colored paper, yeah, like the Atlantic is probably much more beautiful and awe-inspiring. But you know where the map's really useful? If I want to take a trip, right? He says there's two main advantages to the map. The first one is this. He says this: it's based on hundreds and thousands of people what they have found out by sailing the real Atlantic with the map. In this way, it has behind it masses of experiences just as real as any you could have on the beach. While yours would be a single glimpse, the map fits all of those different glimpses together. So basically he's saying, look, this map is based on the experiences of people like you, people who have dealt with the same things, asked the same questions, and when it comes to scripture, who want to know God in the same ways. So it's okay to look at it as a helpful guide that's informed by others. And secondly, he says, in the second place, if you want to go anywhere, the map is absolutely necessary. As long as you are content with walks on the beach, your own glimpses are far more fun than looking at the map. But the map is going to be more use than walks on the beach if you want to get to America. He's saying it's useful because it leads us somewhere, right? The Bible is useful because it's not just about having fun moments where we feel good. It's about leading us back to our souls can truly be satisfied. And that's leading us back to Jesus, to the author and perfecter of our faith. Now, just a reminder then, beauty is a good thing, but it's a signpost pointing us towards our true home. Don't stop and sit underneath the signpost as if it could keep you dry and safe. Keep going to the one who can truly satisfy